Welcome to B3rdPower. It is a fantastic Monday. And Sherri, I'm so glad to see you, honey. How are you?
I'm doing swell. How are you?
I am fantastic. And it looks like I'm moving slow, but that's okay. You
No,
know.
you're fine. We're going to speak this thing through.
Yes. Well, anyway, how was your week? Let's go on and catch up because I got some amazing things to tell you, girl. How was your week?
Well, I can't wait because I cannot remember at all what I did. I don't remember, but let me be the first to say happy
I'm listening.
birthday because your birthday is coming up and we won't be on air. So
Yay!
happy birthday, T-Lynn.
Yay! Yes, my personal national holiday is
Yes.
fastly approaching
Yes, it
later
is.
this week. Listen, Sherri and I may be born in different months, but we both were born on the 11th day in the
Yes.
consecutive months, right? So she's
Yes.
February 11th and I'm March the 11th, and
Yes.
I'm super excited. But you know why I'm even more excited?
Why?
Because it is International Women's Day. And man, the love that I have seen shared between women and the men that are cheering them on today has just really given me my life, honey. I've enjoyed it, enjoyed it. So that
I
makes
love
me
it too.
excited today.
Yeah, I love seeing it. It's been really, really nice to see it. And I've even gotten a couple messages from people and family like, girl, you rock and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
So thank you. And it's really nice to see all of the men just representing their wives and their mothers and their
Yes.
family. Just, yeah, that's what we need. We need more of
Yes.
that. I know you probably saw my video earlier. So we definitely
I
need more of
did.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. But you know what? I want it to be more than just one day a year. I want to
Uh,
celebrate all year long, right? Because there
right.
are accomplishments that are made throughout the year. Not just like people that say with Valentine's Day. Why do we have to only celebrate these things one day? Why can't we
Well,
make it a
I
cultural
don't think
thing
it's that.
where
I
we're
think,
continuously celebrating? You know what I mean?
but it's just, I don't think it's that. I think that very conscious and aware people know that you spread love every day, right? That and
Yes.
it's every day. You spread love every day. You show your significant other you love
Yes,
them
every
every
day.
day. So, and then you show your children you love them every day. So it's not just a day. Like we celebrate women often. I've seen where people will do this periodically, shout out their wife or whatever. I think this just makes it special to say, okay, today we're going to put a
It's your
special,
day.
it's a special day, similar to like your birthday. Like you wake up every day and you're thankful
Yes, my
and you wake
national
up blessed
holiday.
and you wake up right.
Yes.
But on the 11th is when you actually turn the next chapter and you actually do a little bit more celebrating, right? But we know that we wake up
Yeah.
every day and we celebrate, So that's
Okay.
how I've always seen
I'll take
holidays.
that.
Yeah, like
I'll
that's what
take
they
that point
are.
of view. I'll take that point of view. But I just want to say to all the women out here who are rocking it in your lane, who are doing things to build your families and make a great difference and a legacy, we salute you today. And even if you haven't found your purpose yet, we still salute you for being on the journey. All right. So today is your day, and we are celebrating not just ourselves, but we're celebrating you today. Okay.
Yes,
Listen.
definitely.
So I had an amazing week. I'm so
Okay.
excited to tell you about this. I've had an amazing week because last week I had the honor and privilege to do an interview in the UK, baby. Listen, it was phenomenal. And thanks all to Think Network. I'm so honored.
Yes.
Like I told you guys, I'm super honored that they selected me to be one of the global female Empowerment Ambassadors, and I got a chance to do an interview with them last week to celebrate just being just gratitude, being able to celebrate gratitude and tell my story about how gratitude changed and saved my life. It was so much fun. So shout out to Gary Doherty and the family over at thinknetwork.co. I love you guys. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to continuously working with you guys. So that was like
you
amazing.
out here traveling during the pandemic and just doing things. I love it.
Listen, look, I traveled right on virtually. Yes, I did. I traveled virtually right on over to their virtual platform.
Right. I
look forward to being able to travel once things a little bit better with the pandemic and traveling.
And I will be on that flight with you, honey. Yes.
Listen, going over to have a sip of tea. Absolutely. What I love to do anyway. But listen, you guys, we have an amazing, oh, thank you, baby. We have an amazing show in store for you guys tonight. Listen, shout out to Alan for always holding us down. It's nowhere in the world we cannot say hi to Alan. He said hi to us earlier in catch up, so we want to say hi to Alan. Listen, tonight, none other than Jeffrey Lyles from Lyles Movie Files for the Critic Corner returns. And I'm excited to talk to him because it has been so much going on in TV and film since we last talked. And I look forward to getting into it with him tonight. But in addition to that, we have an amazing speaker, author, and Rabbi. Yonason Goldson will be joining us tonight. We're going to be talking about leaderships, ethics, and loyalty. And baby, it is a topic that is so filled with some juicy goodness. You don't want to miss it either. So what you need to do is, we got to take a quick break. But while we do that, make sure that you're liking, you're sharing, because sharing is caring. And make sure that you join the conversation in the comments. Like our good friend Alan, he's always shouting us out. That's why he was our fan of the year last season. So make sure you join the conversation in the comments. We want to know if you have questions or comments regarding the topics we're talking about tonight. So join us. Make sure you like and you share. And while we take this quick break, you all go ahead and enjoy the tunes of our resident house band, Foundation. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break. Welcome back to B3rdPower. Sherri, are you ready to get into this? Have you done your homework? Let me ask you that. Have you done your homework?
I actually did tonight.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
I'm looking forward to this conversation because normally, yes, I'm excited, y'all.
But even when I don't do my homework, I hang. Yes, I still hang in there. Even when I don't do my homework, because half of the people watching probably didn't even know that I didn't do my homework because I still hang in there. So whatever. But tonight I really did. And I enjoyed it. I actually have 3 notes here that you might touch on. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, she did her homework, y'all. So we are super excited to have back with us for the Critics Corner none other than Jeffrey Lyles from Lyles Movie Files. Welcome, Jeffrey. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are y'all tonight?
We are good.
Awesome.
We are good.
Sherri says she did her homework, Jeffrey. So let's see how much of the truth is in that one. Okay.
I have
So what do you
3.
want to talk about first?
I have 3 things that I watched.
Okay.
3. Okay. So do you want to start with what she watched or what we watched? Because we watched more than what she watched.
He's probably going to
talk about what everybody's been talking about.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
What, at least one of the things I've seen.
Let's talk about Coming to America.
Yeah.
Coming to America TL, coming to the number 2, the sequel to this
number
movie
2
that we never thought we were going to get a sequel. It's been 33 years since Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, etc. came together and put together this classic where if you go, What is that velvet? People know exactly what you're talking about. They go, hey, I was on fries and now I'm going to be on the register. And that's when the big bucks start running. You know this movie. I'm going to go Sex Chocolate.
Sex and Chocolate.
You know what I'm talking about.
You know what his go-to. Yes.
Yes. And you know exactly what's happening with this movie, right? So when they announced they were doing a sequel, I was like, I don't know. This could be good or it could also be really bad. And I felt like a lot of times when you hear movies are announced, you're kind of like, okay, let's see where it goes. This one, I was like, it's either going to be really funny or it's going to be really terrible. It's not going to be somewhere in the middle. It's the 2 extremes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was decidedly on the side of, I can't believe I waited 33 years for this movie. Why did they bother doing it? Like, I feel like midway through it, they were all kind of looking at each other going, I don't think this is working, y'all. But we've already been shooting for so long, so we got to keep going. Should we add some jokes that people will laugh at? I mean, we haven't started so far. Why break up a good thing? And Sherri, I know you liked it, but oh man, I was so disappointed. I was sitting there watching, and I think by a half hour, I was going, yo, I haven't laughed once. This is not good.
Yep.
And I made the real mistake of watching the first film like within 2 weeks of watching this, just because I was in a bad mood and I needed to pick me up. And Coming to America is my guaranteed. If I need to laugh, I'll pop that on. In like 5 minutes, I'm laughing at something. And by the time he's out there in the streets singing "To Be Loved," I'm wiping the tears from my eyes from laughing so much. I was crying. I was doing that Jordan meme watching this movie. I was just sitting there like, sad watching this movie because I was not laughing at all.
So T, you didn't care for it either?
No.
Well,
no. I'm gonna tell you. I was going to say, well, you go ahead and I'll tell you why I felt the way I did. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I agree with Jeffrey. I did not laugh. I think I told Jeffrey when we were in backstage, I probably laughed once, and it wasn't even a laugh. It was a chuckle. What I did not like was that I seen the first movie. So it wasn't a point in flashing me back in this movie. I didn't need the flashback, right? And I get that you want to include everyone in, or trying to bring back those elements that everyone loved so much in the first one, but it wasn't necessary because Coming to America all by itself, it was such a great movie the first time. At least I thought it was a great movie the first time, that all you do is you build on it. You don't have to keep flashing us back or taking us nostalgic. And so my husband was like, well, maybe it's for the young people that never seen it before to kind of bring them in. And I said, they don't need to see it in this movie. All they got to do is go watch the first movie. It's still around.
Exactly.
You go watch the first movie and then you come back and you enjoy the second one. I didn't like the flashbacks. I felt like they were trying to redo the first one without redoing the first one, but doing some extra stuff. I was getting ready to say something that I probably had no business, so I'm keeping it to myself right now. So I was about to say something about another movie that everybody loved, but I just feel like when it's a good one, the first one was a good one. Don't mess it up trying to come do it a second time. Like there's so much more I feel like they could have done in this second one, and they didn't do it, and so I felt like it was forced. That's my personal opinion.
Now I can say that in the beginning it started out very slow for me, so I fell asleep. And I was out for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and Dale was like, wake up. So I came back, and it was okay. I really did not like the storyline. I felt like they could have done it a different storyline, like why it went that way, and then come to find out he wasn't the son. Like it was just the son. He was, I don't know. And so I didn't like.
You were still confused because I think in my mind the whole time I said that's gonna turn out not to be his son, but in the end it turned out to still be his son. At least they never said that. But I was like,
why did we have to go there? You know what I mean? It just didn't. I didn't like that at all. But I did like the flashbacks to like the first one. As a matter of fact, that's really when I laughed especially when they talked about at the bar, when the guys were at the barber shop. You would have thought half of them were gone. Dead off.
That's what I said. Shouldn't they be dead by now? It's over 30 years and they was already old. And so now you bring them back and they're still, that one didn't make sense.
I thought they were funny. I thought
I remember what I laughed at too.
Funny. I thought when they were talking about, thank you for releasing the curse off of my sister from barking or whatever. I was like, really? Is she still barking? Like,
I'm like 30 years later. And I'm sorry. Hold on. We didn't apologies to anybody that is watching, because that might have been spoiler alert for y'all for some of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I just realized that. My apologies to our viewers.
With this movie, everybody was watching over the weekend. My Facebook feed and my page was just hit up because people were looking at the numbers, and I was like, "Wow, a lot of people are watching it this weekend." And this is one of those you can't. I mean, it's a comedy. There's only so much you can spoil.
It's not one of those movies that I would go back and watch. Like I love all of the Friday movies, all of them. I can watch all of the Friday movies every weekend
over and over again.
Love them. Like you can, and you always pick up something that you didn't hear the time before. I love them.
But notice what they did. They kept moving with a different storyline, even if it was one thread where it was Debo still chasing them. It still moved on to a completely different storyline, but they weaved Debo in it. You get what I'm saying? They didn't come back and keep flashing you back to the first one. I'm just saying.
Remember this funny part from the movie that you enjoyed? Yes, I just watched it. I remember the funny parts. And I'm seeing that this movie does not have funny parts. So you're bringing in the funny stuff that I laughed at in the first film because you realize it's not funny. And I didn't understand what they were doing with the plot. Like, it made no sense.
Yeah.
We're acting like Akeem is not progressive, but he married an American that he totally went against tradition to marry in the first place. And now it's like, well, I can't have my daughters become the queen. I'm like, come on, that's stupid. Lisa would have been like, you're sitting on the couch till you come around with this in the first place. That whole thing never would have happened. He was training his daughters, and I hated the whack. Let's try to incorporate some elements of Black Panther. Let's have all of his daughters.
You noticed that too, because I seen that too. I saw that, yeah.
And I was like, oh, look, see, we watched Black Panther too. They should have just thrown a clip of that in there as well, since they were doing so many clips from other better films.
And then when they did the little action fight there, I said, oh, look at Wakanda.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? It was bad.
I was about to say,
Jackson in the flashback. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I was just gonna ask. So because we have other shows we want to talk about too, we're not gonna keep frying this one. This one is done. So what is your overall rating from 1 to 10? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Would you rate this movie?
I gave it a 4.
A 4.
4.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.
I almost thought you were gonna say a 1.
That high. The only reason I gave it that high was because the nostalgia factor of, hey, it was cool seeing the people in the movie that I used to like and seeing them still around. But let me check because I'm trying to. No, I'm sorry. I had to check because it's been. I watched it and started immediately trying to get it out of my memory. I gave it a 2. I gave it even worse than that. So I gave it a 2.
I was about to say I was expecting you to say less than 4. I thought you were going to say a 1.
I thought I was nice. But I went like to the bottom with it. I gave it a 2. I gave it a piece, and yeah, it just wasn't good. And I feel like comedy is one of those things where people like it or they don't. Like you can watch the stand up, and you're laughing. This person next to you is like, this one. I feel like it was really bad. And the people who liked it, from all the Facebook posts I'm reading, it was like we have gone a year without having like the funny comedy. No. So they were desperate.
We can't hear you. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
I can hear
you. Like a year without having comedy, right? And so this was like, yes, I love Eddie Murphy. I'm going to laugh at this. And I really, really like it. I want to like it. Okay, it wasn't funny. I wouldn't watch it again, but it was all right though.
Yeah.
Well,
so what else is? Yeah, I was about to say. Right. So what else do we have a review on for this week?
All right, so I've been keeping up with a lot of TV. The Bachelor.
Go ahead. I want you to come to this show. Come on. I feel you coming. Not The Bachelor, but I feel you coming around the corner. All right. Go ahead.
I'm turn the corner to Married at First Sight. Have you been watching this?
That's what I was waiting for you to bend the corner on. What?
This show
in the world
insane this season. Yeah. It's crazy. I have watched this series from the start, and normally when they introduce the people, it's like, oh, okay, I can see why they put them together. They put this couple, Chris and Paige, and I'm sure anyone who has even remotely heard about Married at First Sight has heard about Chris and Paige. Chris is the worst person they've ever had on this show. He was terrible from the moment they introduced us to him. He started off saying how I was in ministry because I felt that was my calling, but then I realized there wasn't any money in it, so I decided not to do it. I'm like, well, how is this dude even in consideration? If he can't stick with a calling because it's not making enough money, wouldn't you think your calling would eventually lead you to get some money? But anyway, he's been terrible.
I'm about to say, because Sherri is stuck. Go ahead and tell Sherri what the real problem is. I'm waiting. I'm gonna let Jeffrey break this one.
Married at First Sight. The concept, they meet each other at the aisle. When Paige comes through down the aisle, he's like, oh. And he's basically not attracted to her. His father is ridiculous. And he basically says during the reception, you need to have sex with my son a lot to keep him involved. And Chris is like, yo, I want a honeymoon baby. And he's totally forgotten about the whole thing that he's not really attracted to her. So we fast forward, we get to the honeymoon, and because we're still in quarantine, they just have to go to Vegas, which is a pretty lame place. It's like the actual worst place to have a honeymoon. It's like you go to Vegas before your honeymoon, not the other way around. Anyhow, so Chris gets news midway through the honeymoon, and he's like, I heard some distressing news. And he's setting up like, oh, shoot, his dad died? No. His ex-fiance that he just broke up with 6 months ago is pregnant. And magically, it wasn't she's 6 months in pregnant. She's like pregnant a couple weeks. And everybody's confused. They're trying to do the math. And I'm not good at math either, but I'm like, seems like this should have been
that math don't add up.
Your ex-fiance. Yeah. That math is real shaky. So Chris has been like, well, you know, you're my priority. I want to stay with you. And then, like, the next conversation, well, I'm starting to think about getting back with my ex because I think it's good for the child. And then this last episode, he has the ex-fiance / baby mama come sit down with Paige. And Chris is expecting them to fight over him and be like, oh, I want to be with him. I think he was watching too much reality TV show. And they were both like, yeah, Chris is a disaster. He's a train wreck. And he's like, well, I'm done with this conversation. He is terrible. But he's making for really good TV because it is just like, I can't believe what is coming out of this dude's mouth. But
right. You have to go. You definitely have to go catch it. Yeah. And you definitely have to go back and watch it.
And you know me.
Sure.
And the first thing, as soon as he would have said that he came out of ministry because there was no money, I would have turned the whole daggone show off. Because you know I have no time for ignorance. Just none.
Listen, it's a show. I think I ended up getting glued because I was like, this can't be real. Like, you guys are joking. But I really feel bad for Paige, and I'm just like, it amazes me. Well, now in the beginning, I felt bad for her because she didn't know what she was stepping into. But it's like, to keep entertaining it. Now I'm like, oh, this is just for TV. Right. But it's definitely something we tell you all the time to go check out with Married at First Sight. It's an interesting concept. Sometimes it works out really great. What I really love is the couples cam for the couples that have successfully made it.
It's so great.
Yeah, that's great to see how they are, but it's really interesting to watch the original season. But I know we're winding down on your time, and I know that there are a couple other things you want to run through. So in the next one more show, what is a good to watch? Because we had a big what to not watch at the beginning. So what do we need to definitely see? What's one thing we should definitely add to our list?
I will cheat and go with two quick ones. I will say, if you like Disney movies, Raya and the Last Dragon just came out the same weekend as Coming to America, but no one cared because Coming to America was just everybody
came out. Yes,
it is available on Disney Plus Premiere, which means you'll need to pay $30 if you already have Disney Plus to see it early, or you can take the family out to the theater if you're so bold as to risk the pandemic life and go and hope for the best. But eventually it'll be free if you have a Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah, so I'll be waiting.
It was good, really good. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not ready to go to theaters yet, even after I get my second vaccination. And the other thing that's really good that's worth watching, This Is Us. They finally figured out that it's not as entertaining having all the siblings bicker and argue with
fighting.
Each other. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoy where they're going with this now. I need them to do something better with Kate because it seems like the writers are on this thing of Kate. We don't have anything to do with Kate. Let's have her find another baby or want to have another baby. I mean, she just had the son who's visually impaired, and it's like, well, we don't know anything else to do with him. Let's give her another baby.
But what they did do, what I did like what they did was go back and explore a little bit about the one boyfriend that they have discussed with her, or that they have shown. They did go back and go a little bit further into that story. But I think that
I hated that story.
From what I'm seeing,
I hated that story so much. I hated it because Kate is her character is so shaky. Like, if you watch it from like season 1 to now, it's like, what are we doing her? But Kate she carries all of her guilt, all of it. She wears it like a backpack and tucks it away like she's going on a trip. Just like in Coming to America, how would know? Oh, got the other luggage. There's no way she would not have told Toby the moment she started having some issues with Jack. She'd been like, oh my gosh, this is my fault because way back in the day, I did this. There's no way that she wouldn't have done that. And then just kind of casually mention it now. Like, oh, by the way, like when Jack came out premature, she would have been like so guilty and guilt-ridden that she would have absolutely told him that then.
Beforehand.
But the writers are like, we have no idea what to do with her. Let's throw this in there now.
I think they're going to show her some love. I'm having faith, Jeffrey. They're going to show Kate some love.
Faith is good.
Hello.
Even the dogs are with me.
Welcome.
Like,
Candy. Even Candy wants to jump in on the review. Exactly.
I really applaud you guys. Let me just say this before we go to our next segment. I applaud you guys for being able to to watch the shows and be able to, critique them and everything and remember stuff. I just don't have it in me. I really don't. Maybe because I don't watch as much as I used to anymore. So it's just hard for me to
I'm gonna
remember
be honest.
and stay with them. I just don't have the.
This
I
is
can
what I
turn
do.
something on and literally in the first 15 minutes, I can say, oh, okay, so this is going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Oh yeah, okay. All right, I'm over. I'm done with it. And I just turn the TV off. I just can't stay with the whole. Yeah.
To be quite honest though, Sherri, this is how I get my downtime. So because I hustle through the week so much, this is how I get downtime. I sometimes wait and literally let them add up in Hulu, and then I spend the day on like Saturday or Sunday and do nothing but catch up on the shows during the week. That's literally how I'm able to catch up, because I use it to kind of my self-care, to kind of wind down and just relax. So I would say you have Netflix and stuff. Yeah.
I get
but it's
it.
just
I
my
just
way
color.
of chilling out.
I just color. I love it. I have like different color pens and I just color and write. That's all I do.
But that's still great. That's still great. But Jeffrey, we thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you. Make sure you guys go over and show Jeffrey some love over at lylesmoviefiles.com. Yes. You can check him out on his website or check him out for reviews. Like if you can't wait until B3rdPower every second and fourth Monday, go check him out over on YouTube. You can get the reviews there as well. We're so grateful for you. And you guys know what we need to do. We need to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be sitting down with Yonason Goldson. And I'm telling you, it's a conversation you don't want to miss. This is B3rdPower, and we'll see you guys on the other side of this break.
Bye, Jeffrey.
Global Executive Staffing provides top-level executive staffing to federal and private sector companies globally at the most competitive price. They are experts in coordinating and expediting projects from design to development. Global Executive Staffing is a Department of Veterans Affairs, Center for Veterans, certified service-disabled veteran-owned small business. To connect with Global Executive Staffing, go to www.gestaff.com. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm looking forward to this next segment.
Me and you both. Listen, we are super excited to have with us tonight. He is a speaker, an author, and a rabbi. It is none other than Yonason Goldson. Welcome, Yonason.
Hello, how are you, ladies?
We are
We
doing
are
well.
great. How about
How are
yourself?
you?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for inviting me to be with you.
Well, thank you for taking the
Awesome.
time to join us.
Yes. Listen, we are super excited to have you with us tonight because you are we're excited because in looking at the book, you're a TEDx speaker and you talk about ethics and leadership, loyalty and trust. And that is something that is very timely in topic today. And so to get us started, why don't you share a little bit about yourself with us?
Okay, I get asked that from time to time. I graduated from the University of California with a degree in English. And what does one do with a degree in English? Well, I took mine and I went hitchhiking across country for half a year. I crossed the Atlantic, went backpacking across Europe for half a year, and then I ended up in Israel. And that's where I connected with my roots, my Jewish heritage, which I grew up knowing nothing about. And I was just passing through. I was on my way to Kenya and Botswana and Asia and Australia. And I discovered this vibrant culture of deep thought, of high ideals, and of close-knit community. Ended up spending 9 years in Israel. Met my wife there. We had our first 2 children, became an Orthodox rabbi. And then I set off on my career teaching high school. Taught high school for 23 years, 1 year in Budapest, Hungary, 2 years in Atlanta, Georgia, and 20 years in St. Louis, where I live now. I wanted to impart to young people the insights that I had discovered to help them find their way in life. And in 2016, I retired from teaching, and that's when I started my speaking business. I wanted to take all that 3,000 years of wisdom that I'd been studying and teaching for so long and distill it into a message that was relevant to a broader audience. And what I came up with was ethical leadership and intellectual integrity. And the more I talk
Yes.
about those ideas, the more passionate I become. And we're in a very difficult time right now. We're divided against ourselves. There's a lack of clarity. There's a lack of values, and people are depressed. People are pessimistic. And I think that what we all need to do is take responsibility for raising the level of conversation and discussion,
Yes.
and rediscovering a lot of those values that we really all share. We just may be misplaced a little bit in all of the distraction.
Wow. That is so true. I love it. And so in your studies and the things that you've experienced, why do you think so many people lack some of those leadership abilities?
Well, leadership, what is leadership? I mean, we need to define what that term means. And I think that that's part of the problem. What is a leader? A leader is someone who helps others realize more of their potential in a way that contributes positively to the world. And that means that part of being a leader means knowing when to give up control, how to share power, how to include other people in decision-making processes, how to let other people find their voice and share their voice. Because if I look at the people that I'm leading as assets or as peons or as tools that I'm using to help me accomplish my goals, and I'm effectively dehumanizing the people that I'm supposed to be leading. Whereas if I see them as partners and collaborators, then we're all in this together and we all have a role to play. And the role of the leader is not doing the job. There's an idea in corporate structure that the best CEO does nothing. What does that mean? It means the best CEO make sure that everyone is in the right place. Everyone is coordinated.
I'm frozen and
Everyone
I
has
can't
what
hear.
he or she needs to do the job the best way possible. And that itself is the most important job. It's like the conductor in the orchestra. The conductor in the orchestra is the only person without an instrument. And he has his back to the audience. And he's not making a sound. But he's the most important person because he's making sure that all the players are able to play in concert with one another.
Wow, that was an excellent explanation of it, and I was hoping that you could definitely explain it better than I ever could. But I appreciate that. So let's go into a quick rundown of the 7 ethical principles that drive successful leadership. Can we get a quick rundown what that's all about? I know it's 7, but
maybe we'll start and we'll see how far we get. But the first one is particularly important. And in the course of my studies, I came across an expression called rational ignorance. What is rational ignorance? It's when I make a decision that certain pieces of information are not important, because that's not relevant. And if you talk to people who are honest, this happens in research all the time. 90% of the results point in one direction. 10% of the results seem to contradict those conclusions, so we're going to determine that those results are irrelevant. Or if I have a point of view, and I know there's somebody over there on the other side who has data, who has facts, who has arguments that go against my belief, well, I'm going to say that person's irrelevant. Those facts can't be important. If I have truth on my side, then it's going to stand up against arguments. And if I don't have truth on my side, then why do I want to be on that side? Am I more interested in looking right or in being right?
Okay.
If I think too long about that question, I've definitely got a problem, and I'm not going to get started in terms of being ethical or being a leader.
Got you. So rational ignorance, that's part of number 1. And I noticed that number 2, let me tell you which one was my absolute favorite. Let me see. I think it was number 4. Yeah, number 4. That was my favorite. Understanding and empathy and application of that. So I really, that one really resonated with me.
Yeah, and that's so important because we have to recognize that what's ethical and what's legal are not the same thing. A lot of people in business think, well, we have compliance laws and compliance rules to take care of being ethical. That's not true. Because compliance just gives you a structure. But it's very easy to manipulate rules, to bend the letter of the law, to subvert the spirit of the law. And you can be in compliance while doing the wrong thing. And so to say, well, it's not illegal, or I'm in compliance, that could be the last refuge of the unethical person. Because I have to be struggling with these. I mean, this is why I call my book Grappling with the Gray, because most of ethics takes place in gray areas. And we have to use our gray matter. We have to be struggling and thinking and working these things through, and we're not always going to get to clear or simple answers. We may not even get to the right answer. But what's most important is striving for that. And empathy is the E in ethics. It's the first step, because ultimately ethics is all about recognizing and taking responsibility for the impact my actions have on others. And so if I'm not sensitive to how I'm acting in a way that does affect others, I can't be an ethical person.
I like to write down quotes, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I was like, you're so right in that it does. Ethics does happen in the gray area, because a lot of things are not black and white. And that gray area, it matters what you do there. It matters. It matters. Some people think it doesn't, but it does. It matters how you handle things in that gray. So I totally agree. I was sitting here looking because there was one that I really enjoyed, and Sherri might have hit on that one already. And I promise you I can't find it. If and now I'm getting tongue tied. So one of my favorite ones that you had was number 7. I really liked number 7. Like any other discipline, ethics must be studied at the feet of masters. That was my favorite one. Actually, it was my favorite one. There is no substitute for human interaction with people of quality. That said it all right there. Like, you have to sit
really
at the feet and learn. Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually this is a biblical precedent that Moses was chosen to be the leader of the Jewish people by God. The next leader was Joshua, who was also chosen by God.
Mm-hmm.
Why was Joshua special? So Scripture says that Joshua never left the entrance of Moses' tent. What was he doing there?
Learning.
He was watching. He was observing. Not because he was training to be the next leader. He wanted to be the best person he could be. So how do I become the best person I can be? Hang around with the best person I know.
Yes.
Jim Rohn says you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that doesn't just mean the people that you sit around and talk with in your house or in your neighborhood or in your job. It means the people that you watch online. It means that when we just listen to Jeffrey telling us about these various forms of entertainment.
Shows.
And
right.
The bottom line, you want to consolidate what he said into one short sentence? Read a book.
Well, the old saying says that the best secret is hidden
in a book. Yep.
The best secret is hidden in a book. My Nana always told me that.
Yeah, there's so much wisdom. There's so much knowledge. There's so much available to us. But we go to the junk food because it's there.
I like junk food.
And then we wonder why we don't feel well.
Right, exactly, because that's what we're consuming. But
Exactly.
Sherri and I talk about that all the time, in the sense that whatever you spend most of your time digesting or taking in, like for anyone, you got to realize your eye gate. That's you're feeding yourself off of what you're looking at, what you're seeing. You're feeding yourself off of what you're hearing, and then you're feeding yourself off of what environments, the energy in the environments that you're in. Like, you're constantly feeding yourself, and what you're feeding yourself is what's going to come out. So if you're right, it's same thing with nutrition. If you eat a bunch of junk food, you're going to be sluggish and you're not going to be productive. But if you eat some good, healthy, solid food, it will definitely strengthen you and to help you along your journey. So you're absolutely right.
And, I'm just stoked because earlier this morning I did a video and I was talking about just this. I was so heated, Mr. Goldson. I cannot tell you how heated I was when I saw this. I heard something on the radio where they were talking about they were trying to talk about basketball, losing in basketball. And then they played a clip from a movie where the guy was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to my car and I'm going to shoot up everybody. And then in the next segment, they talked about a young rapper being killed and he was just an innocent bystander. I nearly went through the roof of my car. Like, how do we sit here and laugh on one end? And then you talk about it in the next segment about a young innocent life that was killed. Like, what are you guys feeding yourselves? Get away from this foolishness. Like, you're feeding yourself this. And I just, I was so heated. I did like a 20-minute Facebook Live because
she did.
You cannot have this type of confusion. You're confusing the heck out of people. One minute we're talking about, oh, we want to empower the community. And then the next minute you're sitting here playing a clip from a movie where a guy was like, oh, well, I'm just going to get my gun and I'm going to shoot up the neighborhood. And then you talk about the poor innocent rapper that was killed. And we're supposed to be like, we're stuck. We don't know what to think. Like, it's just, it was crazy. It heated me. I was so heated.
So,
but you're
so
saying the exact same thing. Like, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like you said, there's a physical diet, there's an intellectual diet, there's a spiritual diet, there's an emotional diet, there's an ethical diet. If we want to be healthy people, we have to be conscientious of what we're letting in, what we're bringing inside ourselves, what we're bringing inside our environment, because all of that affects us. And that's why discipline is so important. And anybody who's ever learned a musical instrument, anyone who's ever learned a skill, sports, you learn a sport, you learn a subject, you learn a career. I mean, we all know this. If you want to get good at something, you have to put some serious work and effort into it. Well, why do we think life is different? Life's just going to happen by itself. We want to get good at life. We have to put some effort into it.
We do.
It pays off.
Effort to it.
The payoff is a good life. It's worth it.
Yeah. We definitely do. I say all the time, life is not meant to be easy. If it was easy to come with the easy button from Staples, you'd just be able to push it and your problems and everything would just happen for you. But that's just not how this works. It just doesn't work like that. You know, if
Navy SEALs, right? Navy SEAls run obstacle courses.
Yeah.
Well, why don't they remove the obstacles? Then they can run the course much faster. That's not the point. The point isn't to run the course fast. The point is to learn how to get over and around and through obstacles.
Yes.
And that's how you get the best.
You just move the hurdles and I can just run down the right.
Yeah.
But you're not going to learn anything that way, Sherri.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And you know, and I always I also use the analogy where I say, you know, Michael Jordan and LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, they love that sport, right? They want that, they want that ball. If you don't do anything else, give them the ball. They've practiced day in, day out, day in. They've studied the court. They know the court. They know where they can stand on every part of that court, whether they can make the shot. They know how far they are. They know because they take the time to study the court. Now, if they can do that and the passion that they have for this sport, you can do that for life. You got to want this thing called life. I can't want it for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the seventh rule, the seventh principle, to learn at the feet of masters. I mean, mentoring, coaching.
Yes.
You want to get good at something, get a good coach, get a good mentor. And that applies to life too.
Yes.
Now, you know what I like that you said about that, though, Yonason, is that you didn't just say get a mentor or get a coach, but you also gave tangible examples of that. Meaning you can get a coach or a mentor, but you can also find articles, books, interviews. There's all kind of mediums that are available to you that if there's not a person that's available, you can still learn because there is material and information that is still available to you at your fingertips. And I like that you gave other examples other than just a person, because sometimes a person isn't available, but the information is still available even if the person is not. So I love that.
And YouTube is, there's lots of junk on YouTube and there's lots of really valuable material there.
It sure is.
Yes, it is.
Or discerning, seek out what's worthwhile. It can be a resource.
Absolutely.
I know I might be telling my age real quick before we go ahead and close out. But you remember, no, I'm serious. Like, it's so funny because do you remember back in the day when we had to buy the latest and newest encyclopedia?
Yes, I do remember that. I just told on myself too.
Hello?
And they would come door to door selling them. So they would come to
right.
your door selling the encyclopedias. So sometimes you may get A through a letter, and then next time they come around, you get the other ones. I remember that was part of my summer assignment, reading the
These
encyclopedia.
children have no clue how much information and how much access to information they have right here at their hands. Like, we literally had to wait for the encyclopedia man to come. And then I had to wait for mommy to buy it for me. I mean, my nana to get it for me. You know, like, you have to, are you serious? These kids have no excuse. There's nothing that they can't figure out and find out right here with all of this information. I think these children just go into information overload. Do you think? I think they just shut down.
No doubt about it. It's not just the children; it's all of us.
It's the adults too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you just
and misinformation overload and disinformation overload.
Hello.
Yeah.
There's no discernment between what's real, what's accurate.
Right.
And if you want to find out that, I mean, you're really going to have to do your homework.
Yes, that is so true. So the information is there, but you got to know what's right and what's not, because it's misinformation along with good information, all mixed in together.
Know how to peel back the
layer. There was a great senator, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, and he said, "You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts." And
I love
forget that because there are all these opinions out there, and the facts are harder to find.
Yeah,
because too many people just don't care about them anymore.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If I haven't done the hard work of finding out what's true and what's accurate, I can't be ethical. Because I may be convinced something's true and it actually never happened, or it happened the opposite way, or I don't have the whole story.
Right.
I'm going to have opinions. They have to balance. They have to be founded on something that's real.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
Man, this has been such a great conversation. Yes. I was going to say the same thing. So listen, guys, we've been talking about we have 7 principles, but I'm sure there's much more in the book. We've been talking to Yonason Goldson from his book, Grappling with the Gray, an Ethical Handbook for Personal Success and Business Prosperity. You guys need to make sure you go get a copy of this. Make sure you go on over to his website at YonasonGoldson.com. There's a plethora of gold gems over there on his website. I found some, so I know you're going to find some. I like going to his site because I got a whole lot of treats over there. So make sure you guys connect with him for sure. And while we're wrapping up, is there any last bit of wisdom you want to share with our audience before you go tonight?
Well, let's do principle number 3, because I think it's really relevant nowadays. And it's a phrase that I learned called constructive disagreement. We tend to either shy away from arguments because we don't want to get embattled with people, or we go looking at battles. And sometimes as we retreat into our own tribes, and we all agree to agree. And now any other tribe that disagrees with us, well, they must be wrong, or they must be deluded, or they must be evil.
Yes.
If you really want to get to the truth, talk to people you disagree with. And more important than talking to them, listen to them.
Yes, right.
Understand where they're coming. Hear their point of view. Because sometimes, you know what? They may make sense. Sometimes there are 2 ways of looking at something.
There is.
What else? Sometimes it might be wrong. And that's okay.
Yep.
I'd rather find out that I'm wrong than continue to be wrong. So avoiding that groupthink, that sort of parroting and echoing one another, seeking out people from different points of view, different perspectives, different opinions, and actually having a conversation. Best thing you can do for yourself.
I like that. It's another way for you to grow.
Exactly.
It's another way for you to continue growing. Yep. Because if we're not growing, then we're dying. Hello.
And I always say, each and every day you should be learning something new. If you're not learning something new, you need to change the space and the place and the people that you hang around. Simple as that. Every day you should be growing and learning something new.
I was about to say, now
And
say
there's a
that
reason they're
10
called growing
times
pains.
fast.
Say that 10 times fast.
The way you just said that all fast, I'm like, let's say it again 10 times fast. Let me see how soon you get caught up. Yes. No, but we sincerely have enjoyed you tonight. I hope our viewers have enjoyed the conversations. I told you guys, make sure you stay with us because we were going to be dropping some gems and get some good information. Again, make sure you go grab a copy of Grappling with the Gray by Yonason Goldson. It will definitely bless your life. And if anything, it's going to help you keep growing, right? And we want to keep doing that because if you ain't growing, you're dying. I love that. But
And it's discounted on my website, so don't go to Amazon.
Oh, see, don't go to Amazon. Make sure you go on over. Can we get that up? YonasonGoldson.com. Make sure you go there to grab your copy because, as he said, it's not on Amazon. You gotta go directly to him to get it.
On Amazon. You'll pay more for it. You'll pay more for it on Amazon.
So you don't want to do that.
Author discount from my website.
There you go.
Okay.
Off the discount. Go there. So we thank you so much. We appreciate you. Listen, time flies when we're having fun. Make sure you go over to Mr. Goldson's website. Grab your gifts because they're gifts, y'all. It's going to help you grow. Sherri, is there anything you want to leave our audience with before we go tonight?
I don't have anything to leave them with. I've already said my saying. They've heard me say that several times, but I do want to say before we leave, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and you are welcome to come back anytime. And make sure that if you know of anyone that would be a highlight to have on the show, make sure you put them in contact with us. And the same to our audience, make sure that if you would like to be featured on the show, or if you know somebody that would be an amazing guest to have on the show to continue our mission of being intentional, bridging gaps and building communities, make sure that you have them email us at B3rdPower@gmail.com.
There you go. She said it. So with that being said, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be before you. Make sure you share this episode for anyone that may need the information that we've talked about, especially from the leadership and ethics and most importantly, not most importantly, but second importantly, the Critic's Corner. You want to make sure you avoid some of them shows, right? So we've had a great episode. We thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, today is a great day to make a difference in the lives of those around you. I'm Lynn Tate.
And I'm Sherri Cook.
And this has been B3rdPower. Have a safe and wonderful week, you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.